I think it's safe to say that M3GAN is no longer mainly a horror thing, to which I now ask, is she still gonna be a part of Universal's Horror Nights? Because she has been featured there for the past couple of years. Now, I don't know. M3GAN 2.0. Yes, we finally got our sequel to Blumhouse's massive 2023 hit. If you recall my review of that movie, I said the trailers for it actually looked pretty bad, but then I heard good reviews, so I had to see it for myself, and I ended up loving it. And so did most of the world, so naturally we have our sequel. 2 years after the events of the first movie, Gemma and Katie are trying to own up to their previous mistakes when they are called upon by the military because there is a new rogue AI out there. Her name's Amelia, the Autonomous Military Engagement Logistics and Infiltration Android. And she's just causing all kinds of trouble, wouldn't you know it? So now M3GAN, the Model 3 Generative Android, has to be reassembled to hopefully take Amelia out. Yeah, M3GAN fights for us now. Probably. And let the mayhem begin.
Hold on to your vaginas.
Now, for this movie, I didn't actually want to look at any reviews before going to see it, but the internet being the internet, I couldn't help but see a couple of them, however briefly. So when I saw that reviews were mixed, I was like, no, not M3GAN. Happy to say I thoroughly dug this movie. So getting to it then. Allison Williams returning as Gemma Forrester, M3GAN's inventor. It was interesting to see where she stands at this point in her life when it comes to artificial intelligence and technology and what it can do versus what it should do. She's still great. Her part is just as big here as it was in the first movie. Although actually I can't say the same for Violet McGraw as Katie this time around. She's still really important. She does matter. I just feel like she didn't have as much screen time as she did in the first movie. And although I did just say that she is still important and she still does matter, she does to M3GAN, but I will say not as much to the overall story in this movie. That's how I'll put it. She's not as prominent here. Violet McGraw is still good though. I wouldn't say she's the best child actress around right now, but she plays her part well enough. But now of course we come to our title character again. Our M3GAN, once again played physically by Amy Donald and voiced by Jenna Davis. I'll say if you're a huge M3GAN fan, you might be a little bit disappointed because she isn't physically in the movie as much as she was in the first one. That being said, she is in the movie as much as she was in the first one, if not more, if that makes sense. I'm trying not to spoil anything. Probably not doing the best job though, but whatever. M3GAN's awesome in this movie, dude. She's got all the personality she had in the first movie, plus so much more. She's witty, she's sassy, she's funny as all hell.
I take almost no pleasure in this.
Because she's that kind of archetype hero, I guess I could say, that we like to latch onto. She kicks ass and talks shit. What's not to love? The way things are going in Hollywood these days, I honestly don't think it's too hard to write a lovable hero like this. Just write some funny, quippy jokes and you're good to go. I mean, depending on the kind of movie you're trying to make. Maybe that doesn't work so much for some characters, but it certainly works for M3GAN, because I still love her. Which is gonna bring us over to Amelia, played by Ivana Sanko, who I remember from Ahsoka, the Star Wars series on Disney+, which I loved. Amelia is our villain here, and well, she's pretty emotionless. I wasn't expecting her to be anything more though. It is just kind of funny that they say that her model was built off of M3GAN's, yet first of all she looks way more human, but secondly she got none of M3GAN's personality. I don't know, I guess I just would have preferred to see M3GAN and Amelia have like a quip off or something. They'd both be talking shit to each other while they're fighting, but as we have it, we kind of have M3GAN versus a grade B Terminator, who's not nearly as strong as a Terminator. Her role in the movie serves its purpose really well, and I'll give it points for that. I'm just saying she could have been more fun to watch. I mean, not to say this movie wasn't fun to watch, it certainly absolutely was. This movie is nuts. It goes pretty crazy. It really reminds me, if we're staying under the Blumhouse roof, it reminds me of the Happy Death Day movies. If you've never seen those, just let me explain. The first movie was The Concept, and it pulled the concept off really well, and it's a great movie. Whereas its sequel takes that concept and says, alright, so what if we not only went further with it, but rather just sprint with it and lose our fucking minds while doing an acid trip while doing so? Yeah, that sounds fun. Seriously, it's like what Godzilla Kong the New Empire did for that franchise. It just goes off the rails. Alright, to be fair, it doesn't get that crazy. There's no like anti-gravity or giant monsters. But this kind of drops the horror slasher aspect of the first movie and trades it for an action spy tone instead. Which, you know, that's not always a bad thing. Aliens was more of an action sequel than a horror movie, and people love that one. So a change in main genre from movie to movie is not necessarily bad. It might throw some people off, sure, but I for one welcome this change, because this movie's still a lot of fun. And besides, actually kind of like Aliens, there are still a couple of scenes in this movie that have some small horror-ish elements. Just a couple of them though. I mean, that being said, the first movie wasn't really all that scary either. And I can say that because when I was a kid, I was super scared of horror movies. I couldn't stand to watch them. I feel like as a kid, I could have watched M3GAN and been perfectly fine. These PG-13 Blumhouse movies like M3GAN and Five Nights at Freddy's, they're pretty much baby's first horror movie. And so in that, they serve their purpose really well. But getting back to this movie, M3GAN 2.0, it does get pretty over the top and ridiculous with some technology that just straight up doesn't exist. I mean, granted, these movies being comedies, I'm not expecting to take them too seriously, but I am saying, again, it is a jump from the first movie to this one. In the first movie, we didn't know that there's crazy technology that some companies have, like cybernetic implants into the brain. We saw that in the trailer, so that's not a spoiler. So again, going from, normal world and now there's this AI robot out there, to now there's crazy technology like cybernetic implants, not to mention all sorts of other crazy shit, it's a bit of a leap. But it's a leap I don't mind taking, because it's not that serious of a movie. Neither was the first one. This movie's super funny, I laughed a lot, mostly at M3GAN's quips, mainly when she's talking to Gemma. Just in concept, seeing these scenes of the invention talking to the inventor, and they're having full-fledged conversations, that's just funny in and of itself. The conversations they have, well, that's just what brings it over the top into hilarious, because they're hysterical. And then there's the action scenes. Like I said in my video where I was talking about the trailer for this movie, there are a couple of scenes where I was like, M3GAN's a fucking superhero now, because she's throwing down with guys, or with Amelia, and it's pretty well choreographed. The cinematography is a little jarring at times. By that I mean there's a lot of quick cuts involved, but then it does that really cool thing where like she's flipping and then the camera flips with her, kind of like the scene in the first Avengers movie where Black Widow's throwing down with those Russian guys, where she goes back and gets back up and the camera goes with her. Yeah, that happens a few times in this movie, and it's awesome every time. But just the quick cuts, I was like, okay, come on guys. Decide what kind of action you want in this movie. Either really cool and well choreographed, or just really shaky cam with quick cuts. They chose both, which leaves the action kind of a mixed bag in my brain. But then M3GAN will snap out a quip and I'd be like, oh, that's right, M3GAN's still awesome. So it's still a good time. And this movie, like the first one, does have a deeper lesson and underlying themes in there. Of course, I don't want to talk about them here because the trailers didn't really touch on them, but it's great. It's actually really relevant, and I definitely will talk about them in my spoiler talk for this movie, so be here for that. The music in this movie, also really good. Chris Bacon replaces Anthony Willis as composer for the score, but I think he did use the same themes from the first movie that Willis wrote. To be fair, they're not really front and center. There's not like a prominent M3GAN musical theme, but the musical score in M3GAN 2.0 does carry a lot of the same tone, for lack of a better phrase, from that of the first movie. And plus, there are some good needle drops in here as well. In regards to that, I won't say anything more here. Instead, I'll just wrap this up. In the end, M3GAN 2.0, it's a blast at the movies. It's a summer blockbuster with funny dialogue, fun action, great characters with a really fun hero and a kind of weak villain. It gets a lot bigger and crazier than the first movie ever was, and I guess its biggest flaw does come from that because it is a pretty big leap. So in that, I'll say this movie's not as solid as the first one. However, I still walked out going, I want to see more. For M3GAN 2.0, I will still definitely say, go see this movie while it's in theaters, and bring on M3GAN 3.0. Also, there's no mid or post-credit scenes. In case you were wondering, there's not. So, M3GAN 2.0, have you seen it yet? What are your thoughts on it? And what's been your favorite movie of the summer so far? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And of course, thank you for subscribing. Peace!